Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America online at thisweekinamerica.us. It's called The Guide to Spiritual Awakening, empowering readers to eliminate obstacles, gain clarity, set goals, while holding you accountable to achieve your desires. Advancing in Enlightenment, the crash course by Gail Knox, contains 44 years of metaphysical study, the most profound channeled teachings from 5 of America's teachers with the highest integrity, 7 simple chapters. The book combines the wisdom of the ages to master the physical reality that surrounds you to personally improve your life. Gail Marie Williams was born in Chicago. She began her spiritual journey in 1970 at the age of 14, when her oldest sister, Madeline, gave her a copy of the book by Jane Roberts titled The Seth Material, a Seth Book. She continued her study of channeled messages from many sources over 4 decades until finally collecting them all in her book, Advancing in Enlightenment, the Crash Course. She went on to receive both the basic and advanced certifications in the Universal Law of Attraction from the Global Sciences Foundation. Gail Knox, author of Advancing in Enlightenment, the Crash Course, our guest on This Week in America. Gail, welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. This is really an honor. I can't get over it.
Well, we are glad to have you here. It's a fascinating book, and I want to ask how this whole started. What was the inspiration that got you to compile all the channeled teachings into one book and do it at this time? Because it's really a fascinating concept.
Well, it all happened when all the information finally came to a head where all of the information was presented, because every channel gives out a portion of, it's like they don't step on each other's toes. Right. All the channels give the same information but with different perspectives, so it comes out different. And it takes to putting it all together, to reading it all, until you actually see how it comes together. Because a lot of people don't know even that, like they might be reading one channel but not even know about the others. And so you're always missing a whole block of information that makes it all come together. And the last piece of my puzzle was when I found Daryl Lenka and Bashar. And the last piece was finally there, and it made the whole, all of my studies finally complete. And I said, wow, this is really, this is amazing, and I think I should share it.
Well, now is actually the time. It sounds like you put all this together. You did the work for us so we can read through this and get life-altering information. The book is Advancing in Enlightenment, the Crash Course by Gail Knox. Her website is advancinginenlightenment.com. You can link on directly by going to our website, This Week in America, book available at Amazon, the usual places as well. It's called Advancing in Enlightenment, the Crash Course. Why the Crash Course?
Well, because it gives just the most profound teachings that they have. I mean, their books are extensive. They're massive. So, like Jane Roberts had 21 books. Cryan has 14 books. Barbara Hand Clow has a number of books. So all these channels, and Esther Hicks's Abraham books. So I just took their most profound teachings that really can make a difference in people's lives and change people's lives for the better. So I just took the most profound things that each of them said and put it in this book. And that's why I'm thinking of a series, because I can delve deeper into each subject. Like my second book will involve self-empowerment and all the things that went into the self-empowerment part of it. So, it would be living a self-empowered life. So taking all their teachings, so it'll be a completely different aspect of all these teachings. So each book will focus on a different aspect. This was a touchstone on a little, touch base on each of the
right.
Teachings that they provided.
Is that what makes this book different than some of the others out there? Because you really give us enough to get our interest. You don't overpower us, but you give us enough that we can, and you write it in such a way that we can understand it. It sort of introduces us to the topic. Is that what sets you apart from the other books that are in the marketplace?
Well, yeah, because it combines all of them. All the other books that are out there focuses on the one. Each one has their own, they're focusing
right.
on one channel and one channel's information, where I took all the channels and put them in one book, so that people that don't know, if you know Cryan, you might not know Barbara Hand Clow's Satya. And if you know Bashar, you might not know Jane Roberts Seth. So this one introduces you. It's like a guide. to introduce you to the channels and all the messages that they've been giving us through all these decades that people might not even be aware of.
How were you able to take complex topics and break them down into, as I mentioned, this very understandable book that we can go through, we can understand, and start grasping these principles? How difficult was it to break it down so that we can understand it?
Well, it's all about using analogies and metaphors, and a lot of the samples come from the channeled books themselves, a lot of the metaphors and analogies, because the higher realms know that they're trying to communicate their message to us. So they're already breaking it down into simple and easy terms, and I just took it and made it a little bit more earthy.
Yes.
And I took our the things that we would come in contact with every day, and people could, because the higher dimensions, they're the higher dimensions, and they're living. We're like the physical manifestation of them. We're their physical expression, but it doesn't mean that they know everything physical. They have no physical desire, so they're learning about our desires is what propels everything to expand. They can develop, the universes expand because of our desire. It's what Esther Hicks, she says that we are the forefront of creation.
Yes.
We're the forerunners that are expanding it, because the higher realms didn't have physical desire. So it comes from that, and then I just added that portion of it to their explanation, so that it's more but down to earth for what we can understand.
It really is, and the book we're talking about is Advancing in Enlightenment, the crash course written by Gail Knox, our guest on the program. Her website is advancinginenlightenment.com. You can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. One of the areas you talk about is dark energy. Can you sort of give us a simple explanation for dark energy?
Well, dark energy is something that the higher realms don't know about. So we had to have a space created. So our lower vibrational, the light is all high vibration. The atoms and the molecules, they vibrate at a faster rate. They are less dense. They don't contain darkness. You can't have dark when the light is on. So there had to be a space separated from the light, which is where the cryon material comes in. Cryon is the magnetic master. He sets magnetic fields around the planets. And the magnetics, if you've ever held two pair of magnets against each other and you felt that invisible force push them apart,
yes,
that same force is what holds our darkness in place in the third and fourth dimensions. So that darkness can be experienced, because that's the reason for all of this is to learn about the contrast of dark and light, and then choose the light, realize that everything, that the light is the builder, the light is the foundation. So you're always gravitating to the light. But it had to be experienced first, because the Creator can't know darkness. The Creator is pure positive energy, pure light, the brightest light that ever shined. How can you have darkness when the light is on? You can't. And that's what's happening here on Earth right now. We're going through a cycle where we are in a field of pure positive energy. We're going through a part of the universe or our galaxies where the light, we're coming into this great light, and it's flooding into our experiences and everything. So we're able to get the light turned on. So, and that's kind of the hardest step for people that are holding on to the beliefs of, the worry and fear and doubt and anger and the negative energies. They hold on to those, and taking that first step into the light, is like the hardest step, where you might have to change your beliefs about some things, and it seems like that might be the first hardest steps, and that's my book makes that first step kind of easy.
Well, it does. It guides us through the process, and I'm interested, as you go back over 44 years of teaching, and you're learning from the masters, what did you learn in this process, in writing the book, in doing the study, the preparation for the book? What did you learn?
Well, I saw how it all came together, and I learned step by step, every inch of the way. In all these books, they're teaching you how to how to live in a new energy, because we've never, these are cyclic. If you ever know the Maya calendar, how there's 26,000 years, a cycle of their long count calendar. That's how long it takes for our Earth's solar system, the whole thing to move through the procession of the equinoxes. It goes through Gemini, through Leo, through Virgo, and it takes from Sagittarius to Gemini, it takes 12,000 years for our solar system, because there's like a wobble in the Earth, and it moves with the solar system in a circular pattern. It gets to Gemini, it's 12,000 years, and then you've gone into darkness and you've coming back into light, because like the center of the galaxy is where the light. It's like the halls of our Creator is like in the center of all things, and we cross the center at 2 points. We cross the center at when Sagittarius hits the dark rift of the Milky Way, and then up again in Gemini. In Gemini, it's not the center of the galaxy. So it's kind of a little off. It's not off. It's a little off balance. It's not as flooded with light as like we are right now. And then then you go back into darkness, and then you come back into the light, and that's where we're at right now. Is this 26,000 years it took to get back into the light, and all the other times that we were here. This is our fifth journey. We've had this 4 times where we've gone through this circle, and each time we didn't make it to total enlightenment, where all of humanity makes it to a higher dimension. And this time, it said, Cryon always says, this time you've made it. And December 21st, December 21st, 2012, where everyone was expecting this big disaster to happen, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Everybody sent like a core signal that said, we're ready to move on. We're ready for the light. And it's never happened before, according to Cryon. So this is a really exciting time. We are actually going to head into some great lightness and self-empowerment.
And you'll find all of this in the book. It's such a fascinating book, Advancing in Enlightenment, the Crash Course by Gail Knox, our guest on the program. In it, you share some exercises that'll help readers expand their consciousness and mindfulness. One you talk about is conscious breathing. How does this awaken us spiritually? How does this work?
Well, the breath comes actually from the eternal soul, is actually giving you your breath. When the soul has its physical manifestation and life comes in, you take that first breath. Your soul is with you, your mind, body, and spirit from that first breath. And when it's time for your expression to be over with, you stop breathing, and the eternal soul pulls its energies from the body, and so the whole thing, your breath is your divine connection. So it's like, it's the thread that connects everything.
Yes. With us, Gail Knox on the program, talking about her book, Advancing in Enlightenment. In the book, you talk about the heart is the most powerful electromagnetic generator found in the human body. I find this fascinating. Talk about that. Explain that a little bit.
Well, like the heart is the seat of your soul. It's where the greatest our Creator is pure, positive love. The highest vibration, the love vibration, is the highest vibration that there is. It's the most powerful. And it's funny that all of us, we know love is in our hearts. You get Valentine's Day and they drop pictures of hearts.
Yes.
They know that the love is in your heart. So it starts there. But all the high vibration frequencies all originate from the heart. Your compassion, your love, compassion.
Well, yeah, that's the key, the core, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the core. So, yeah, all the higher frequencies reside there. So, and the your divine feminine is there. So that's where you get your intuition strives from the heart, and that's where Greg Braden comes in a lot, because he's done all that work with heart math and delivering the message to us. Because I go to these Cryon seminars where the Summer Light Festival and stuff like that, where Greg Braden is speaking, and his messages and the spiritual messages that are coming forth from the channels, it's time for science and spirituality to really come together. So Greg has come together and with heart math and produced all these statistics for us. So heart math has found 40,000 sensory neurites in the heart that are able, they're brain-like cells. They're able to think, and they're able to feel and deduce and conduct, have ideas. That it originates from the heart. So you have like a little brain in your heart. And he calls it when you're got ideas and stuff coming from your heart, or heart-based living, where your heart would tell you something. Like say you got a job offer in another state, and you're thinking about wanting to go, and your heart would say, "Oh, I want this job. It's what I've been wanting to do all my life." And your head would say, "No, no, you can't leave. You've already got a job. You're already settled here." And then your heart would say, "Yeah, but it's what I've been doing all my life. It's what I want to do all my life." And your head would say, "But all your friends are here. You can't go." And your heart would say, "But I'll make new friends." So you wouldn't have that kind of internal conversation with yourself and decision making if the head and heart weren't communicating. And the heart-based decisions are always your best to follow. And most people don't, because of fear or whatever. They don't follow their heart. But the heart is really giving you the truest message. But
that's fascinating, because so often we think of that's maybe more intuition type of thing. And you're saying, no, we really need to listen to the heart because it is conveying a message.
Right, it is. And with the messages that the heart gives, it's coming from when your head and heart are having this conversation. If you're going through, if it's a traumatic decision or something, the messages coming back and forth would be very chaotic and look like static going between them. But when you have like what's called heart coherence, and the head and the heart finally come in kind of agreement, instead of these messages going back and forth, they combine and this one powerful signal emits. And this is what helps you manifest your creations and having heart coherence. And the way to get into heart coherence is just by putting a hand on your heart. When you do that, it entrains your whole body to focus on where your hand is placed. So if your hand is placed on your heart, all your attention will be placed there. And then you slow down your breathing. Slow breathing tells you that you are safe. You would never breathe slow if you were in a intense situation. Your breathing would be fast, and your adrenaline would be flowing. But when you're safe, you breathe slow. It's the only time you would breathe slow. So you're breathing slow, your hand on your heart, and you ask it a question, and the answer will come to you, and it will always be the right answer. So when you're in heart coherence and that you're having this one powerful signal, you will be driven towards right action instead of making quick wrong decisions and going off in a wrong direction. If you would just take a minute, slow down, hand over heart, slow breathing, and just focus on the question, and then you will be directed with right action.
A couple minutes left in the program. Going by way too quickly, Gail Knox is our guest in the program, author of the book Advancing in Enlightenment. You talk in the book about stopping the spilling of blood. It's our sacred DNA. And I wonder, as I'm reading that, your thoughts on blood transfusions, blood donations. How does that all fit together, or doesn't it fit together?
Well, like I had put in the book, and Paul Purcell wrote a book that has to do with that, where if it's a need and it's meant for you to have it, it will be there. But for the channels say, your blood it's multidimensional. It's the DNA of your soul is in your blood.
Right.
So it's like the DNA of your soul is all through your body. So, and you have like this goes really deep, this part, because the soul, like when you think about reincarnation, it's not you that does it. Your eternal soul, when it comes into physical reality, they always say there is only here, there is only now. So it's like time and space are illusional in physical reality. They don't really exist. Time and space are used as vehicles for a three-dimensional body to move through. So when an eternal soul comes in, all time exists at once. It's like your television set playing all hundreds of different programs all at once, and yet they're all existing at the same time. That's how physical reality actually is. And when the eternal soul moves into physical reality, it has a lesson in mind. And it may take, you can't get your lessons done with one lifetime. It may take, 1 to 10,000 lives to learn the lesson, depending on how hard of a lesson they've chosen
exactly.
to learn. So when the eternal soul is experiencing all physical life at one time, its consciousness is in all of those lives. And they all have the same soul DNA, so that when one lesson is learned, it won't be repeated. It goes into the whole soul DNA, so that you can finally complete the lesson and be done. But but anyway, that would be your Akashic record. Those are your reincarnational, and it's not you that does it. Your eternal soul has all these incarnations, so that when you pass on and your consciousness goes back into the eternal soul, you would become aware of all this. But it all happens simultaneously. So some people are aware. The children born will remember being an old man, or some people remember being somebody else in another life, but because it's all happening simultaneously. But that's your Akashic record.
It's just...
And it's all connected with your soul DNA, and your soul DNA runs through your body. So if you're going to share your blood and stuff like that, you're taking on all the Akashic records of somebody else. If you get somebody else's blood. And if you give blood, you're passing on all your incarnations to somebody else. So the lessons are getting mixed. Because everyone comes in with their specific soul lesson.
I'm just letting that absorb. That's a really fascinating...
it's deep.
It really is, and it's why the book is so important, Advancing in Enlightenment, the crash course. You've been working with Reader's Magnet on this. What's the experience been like in working with them and in getting this message out to the general public?
Reader's Magnet is just amazing, because here I was with a book sitting on the desk. And when Reader's Magnet got in touch with me, all of a sudden the book isn't on the desk anymore. I'm going to book fairs. Now I'm on the radio, and they have a plan. It's like I didn't have a plan, and now all of a sudden I get to follow. I have Mia Roberts and Riza Rivers. They're like my guides, and if I'm writing more books, and I'm doing so much other things, and they keep me on track. they bring me back to what we're supposed to be focusing on. And so it's really good. They're not only guides, but they have a definite plan of action that all I have to do is follow them.
Well, it's an important message, and by doing that, you can follow your instinct, your creative ability to write this book. And you mentioned other books coming up, and we'll be checking on those. The book we're talking about, Advancing in Enlightenment, the crash course. Gail Knox is the author. The book is available at our website, advancinginenlightenment.com. You'll find it, of course, at the usual places. And you can link on directly to Gail's website by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Gail, it's been a pleasure having you with us on the program. The time went by way too quickly. Thank you for sharing. It's a fascinating, important book, a life-altering book, Advancing in Enlightenment. Thank you for being with us on the program.
Thank you so much. This has really been a pleasure, and you made it really easy. You made it easy to forget of my nervous, and it was really
great. Well, you
great.
did an excellent job, and I'm looking forward to having you back on the program. Gail Knox, our guest. The book, once again, Advancing in Enlightenment. You can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back after these messages.